Hello, hello. Welcome to another episode of the Encouraged Overcomer podcast. I'm your host, Iesha Grove, and I'm so excited that you're here with me today. The previous episodes, we have been talking about the You Were Made series. You were made to create, you were made to be great, and you were made for more. So if you are somebody who has big dreams and big goals in your life, and you need that little inspiration, that little push, that motivation, then definitely listen back to those previous episodes. If you're new here, welcome. I'm so excited to dive in today's episode. We are talking about the 3 habits that set successful people apart. If you are a high achiever who likes to do all the things and you want to get to your next level, but there's just so much information out there and you're not sure where to start, then this episode's for you. I'm going to share with you the 3 things that I've done that have made the biggest difference in my success. And I'm going to take you into how you can incorporate them into your day-to-day and how you can also customize the things that you want to incorporate in your day-to-day so that you don't have to pile on 100 things and then feel defeated. I don't know about you, but I have been there before where I would just pile on things. I would say, okay, I need to exercise. I need to read my Bible. I need to pray. I need to walk. I need to go and meditate. I need to go to a sauna. I need to do all the things. And then I would maybe get to about 10 in the list. And then I would feel like, wow, I didn't do everything that I set out to do. And because I am a recovering perfectionist, that would crush me. And then I would just feel defeated. And so I would try to tag those things onto the next day and the next day. And before you know it, a week would turn into a month, would turn into a year. And I would be in this cycle where I would start out strong and then I would just spin into confusion. And then I would just pick it up again. And it was just something that I had to continue to go through. So this episode and message is important to me because I'm here to help you get to your dreams and actually set goals and achieve them. That's the whole point of today's episode. So let's get into it. If you are listening to this on an audio device and you want to see the actual video, then definitely tune into Spotify or YouTube. So let's talk about successful people. I am someone who goes deep into personal development. I love all the things. And so I would listen to, a motivational speaker, or I would listen to someone who is a very successful businessman or businesswoman. And then I would get all these bright ideas and then do nothing with the information. But then I started to pay attention to what these people were saying to me. And I would research and study their lives and like the things that they did do. And it got to the point where I tried to do what they did and be like them. And then I would feel so set back. I wouldn't feel like I was making progress. And it was because I was doing so many different things at the same time. And that might be you. Because if you are listening to the Encouraged Overcomer podcast, it's because you're an encouraged overcomer. You've gone through adversities in life and you've come out on the other side as an overcomer. You've got to see the blessings of God. And now this is your season to give back. This is your season to get to your next level. And I am here to help you do that. Because let's face it, You cannot do this alone. Community is key to you reaching your next level. So that's why I'm here. And you're here because you know that although you got to where you are today because of who you are today, you know that there's a part of you that must die in order for you to achieve more and to do more. So let's get right into it. The first, the first habit that successful people do is they read. Successful people read. Now, I have incorporated reading into my daily life. I will take the time to read something no matter how big or how small, but it's something that can contribute to me becoming a better person and becoming more disciplined as a person. And how successful you are definitely has to do with what you are putting in your mind and before your eyes. So when you consistently read things that are going to contribute to your greater good, then your subconscious mind is literally keeping track of all of it. And so then there will be things that stand out to you that you'll be able to incorporate. And those little things add up into the greater picture. There are so many books that I have read that I can suggest if you don't know where to start. And I have some here beside me on my desk here that I'm going to talk to you about because reading will set you apart from those who don't significantly, because it will put more information in you, and also it will start to develop you slowly but surely, and it will make an impact on your life. So some of the books that I highly recommend that I have here beside me that I want to share with you are from people who are successful in my mind, and that's what I believe, that they are successful in certain areas and they have something that I look at and I admire and I want from my own life. So one of the books that I would highly recommend is called The Alone Advantage, and it's by Terry Savelle Foy. She is known as the cheerleader of dreams. And I have consumed her content, watched her YouTube videos. I've even volunteered at some of her events. And I've picked out a few things that she has said over and over and over again, and it has drastically changed my life. This book, The Alone Advantage, is about the time that you have alone and maximizing that time. In life, we're so busy. We're so caught up into the day to day, and we constantly have people around us. And when people aren't around us, we are having things in front of our eyes and our ears. We're watching TV, we're listening to the radio, to music. We just have things constantly going in and out. And your time alone is key for your success. And we're going to talk about that actually a little bit later. But this book, The Alone Advantage, will help to maximize your efforts towards your goals and towards your dreams. Another book that I recommend is called No Excuses by Brian Tracy. This book helps you to get disciplined. And I know it's like discipline lately has been a negative word, and people are all like, don't do more, do less. And like, yes, that's true, but sometimes it's taken out of context. And this helps you really get down to what needs to happen in order for you to achieve success. And that's why I love this book. I also listen to a lot of Brian Tracy's materials because it has helped to change my life. So that's another book that I recommend. The third book that I recommend is called The Compound Effect, and this is by Darren Hardy. He is successful. He has multiple businesses, and he started out in business at the age of 18. And there's so many things to learn from this because it talks about how you can add on things little by little and take small incremental steps that lead up to your greater success in the overall picture. And there's so many helpful tips in here. And one of them we are going to talk about today. And then the next book that I have is called Switch. Now, this is a book on the science behind how to change things when change is hard. And I don't know about you, but if you've ever tried to just set a goal that was so lofty and it just felt so far away and you weren't sure really how to get there, then you understand how hard it is to change. And this book is so life-changing because it opens your eyes to a whole new world and it explains the reason behind the resistance to change. And it's for people, like day-to-day people. It's for people that work in organizations, so you can understand why it's so hard to change things as a leader in an organization. And also personal change within your life. If you have health goals, you're trying to lose weight, like you're trying to, achieve new success. Why is that so difficult? The book Switch is amazing. This is by Chip Heath and Dan Heath. So definitely check that out. And I have read so many books at this point, but these are just some of my favorites. Another book that I want to point out is Can't Hurt Me. This is by David Goggins. Again, life-changing. He talks about his personal story, how he's overcome so many different adversities. And when you read this book, you realize I really don't have any excuses. Like, I really need to start, and I need to start today. And I need to be truthful with myself with where I'm at instead of trying to sugarcoat things. And they do have a clean version of this book as well. If you want that version for like you have a teenage child, or you want to make sure that you like share it with someone else. So this is a great book. I'm actually reading it again. This will be maybe the second or third time at this point, and going through it with a friend. So definitely read this book if you want to get rid of any excuses and also understand the hard reality that it takes to face in order to change. And the last book that I have with me physically is Think Again by Adam Grant. This is backed by science. It helps you to make progress in how you think, to think and then rethink. And there's this saying that people say a lot that is, if it ain't broke, don't fix it. And he challenges that in this book. And he talks about that's the thing that has held up success of organizations, is because nothing was broken, so they didn't change anything. And all along, if they would have challenged it, those businesses would be more successful. Those projects that they did would be more successful because they challenged it and they didn't settle and they kept on pushing themselves to the next level. So those are just some of the books that I recommend. And I have so much gratitude just for the books that I've read, for the people that have sat down and taken the time to write books. Thank you. We all have such a wealth of knowledge, and it's not fair for us to hold it ourselves. And so if you want to learn something, anything, a new skill, you want to tap into a new industry, you want to change your career, you want to do something completely different than you've ever done before, there is a book on it. So I challenge you to read that book. If you are somebody who loves to read and you have some suggestions of personal development or spiritual development books that you would like to share with other people, definitely put it in the comments. Reach out so that we know, so that we can all just get better. There is so much that we could do. Reading is top of my list of things because of all the books that I've read. I am no longer the same person I was 3, 4, 5 years ago, or even last year. And I know that that's true, not just because I'm saying it, but my former boss, when I was working with him, said to me at one point when we were talking and we were just observing a session at a conference, and he said to me, Iesha, you're different. You are not the same person you were when you walked in these doors 3.5 years ago. Not even the same person since last year. And he said a lot of times it's hard to see the growth that you have, the progress that you're making, because you're with you all the time. You know how you like start to lose weight and you're on a weight loss plan and you don't really see it. You're just kind of like, oh, okay, I feel like my clothes are fitting better. But then somebody else sees you. Maybe they haven't seen you in a while. They're like, oh, you've been losing weight. It feels good, doesn't it? It felt so good to hear that from my boss at the time. And it helps me to appreciate where I had gone, like where I was to then where I was previously to where I was when he made that statement. And I know that even to his point, right now I'm even further along than I was back then. The same is true for you. Give yourself credit for the growth and the progress that you have made. And if you feel like you're not sure what to do next, find a book on that thing and just take a deep dive into it. Become curious, become a scientist about it so that you can really understand the process and fall in love with the process instead of the goal. It's not about what you achieve, it's about who you're becoming in the process. I know that's easier said than done. I've been there before where I felt stuck in the busy, where I was spinning my wheels and I had given a lot of my life to a job and to the mission of that job. And I was a shell of myself. I've been there. Success leaves clues. I've heard so many people say that. And you have clues in books. And there's so many things that can come from just something that you picked up and read that stuck with you, that can help not only yourself, but it can help someone else. So reading, it starts out as like for self. It's like, what can I get from this? But then it ends up being, what can I give from this and what I've learned? So that's number one. Read. Successful people read. Read and read often. Again, you can do this in any way that you like. If you are an Audible learner and you like audiobooks, you can listen to audiobooks. Listen to podcasts from people who are successful that you want to learn from. Or if you're like me and you like also having a physical book in hand, you can do all of the above. For me, I listen to books on the road when I'm in my car. I heard Terry Savelle Foy say, let your car be your classroom. Instead of listening to the radio, I started listening to podcasts and audiobooks. And just trying to educate myself. And so definitely take advantage of that. For me, I'm also a kinesthetic learner. So my walk and read is something that fills me up because I love being outside. I love being in nature. I love the constant movement. I love the stuff that I can kind of hear in the background going around me. And it helps me to focus, whatever it's going to take for it to stick with you. That's what you need to do for yourself. So definitely read. The second thing that I want to say is successful people write down their goals and their dreams. And this is a habit that I picked up from Jim Rohn and also Brian Tracy. And I'm sure there's many more people that have said this, but I can attest that it is true. Me writing down my goals has helped me to stay focused because I revert back to them. I look at them, I reference them. I have so many notebooks. I'm a person who loves notebooks. I have so many in my house that if you pick up any one of my notebooks, I was picking this one up today where I was writing down my notes for my episode. And this notebook has my list of my goals and my dreams on here. And I do this often. I write down a goal, a dream that I have. And Brian Tracy says to write them down in present tense. Instead of I want, I have. I am. I own. And be specific with what it is that you want. And if you're not sure where to start, like how often, when, what, why, how, you just start with making a goal for 7 days or 30 days to write down your goals every single day in the present tense. And don't focus on memorizing them like, oh no, I forgot what number 7 is. What do I do now? Like, just write them down and refer back to them in the present tense. And that written communication is going to help your mind to want to bring those things into your life. And it's going to be a pull towards those things that you want. And it will be amazing when you look back and say, oh, wow, I've actually achieved these things. But you've got to write them down and you've got to do it consistently. It's not one of those things where I've seen people with New Year's resolutions, they write down their goals at the beginning of the year. Then at the end of the year, they're like, did I achieve it? Did I not? And it's like, what do you mean? Like, you don't even know what they are. And so like you write them down. And then a way that you can kind of pull out things to focus on is pick 3 of those goals that you're going to work on in this calendar year. And just focus on those 3 goals. Another thing that I love is called the 12-week year. I've incorporated this where you take one goal, or you can take a goal in different categories, whether it's like physical, spiritual, finances, or your business, that kind of thing. You figure out what you want to work on, and then you hammer that goal for 12 weeks. As your priority. It doesn't mean you can't have like little goals on the side here and there, but you want to focus, hyper focus on that one goal for 12 weeks, and then you do it again, and then you do it again. And so you can hammer out those 3 goals within that year. It is so much easier to get things done when you focus on one thing at a time, as opposed to having many things and then feeling like a failure when it doesn't get done. So I just want to share that with you because that was something that helped me, because I am a person who loves goals. I love just the pursuit of goals. And so that is something that really spoke to me. Now, we have talked about reading, we've talked about writing down your goals. And the third thing that I want to talk about, and that is a habit that successful people have, is they write their daily wins and check in. So you create your wins for the day, and I would say 3 wins, small wins that you can do today that contribute to your overall dream or goal. And you do that thing, and then at the end of the day or the end of the week, you check in. Now, I've heard it said before. I believe it was Ed Milet that I've heard say this. I'm sure I've heard maybe Mel Robbins say this, Terry Savelle Foy. So many people have said this, that you can't measure what's not tracked. Like you have to track it. And if you're not tracking what's actually happening, then you'll never know what the real problem is and why you're not achieving your goal or your dreams. And I say goal and dreams a lot simultaneously, but they are different things. A goal is a target that you can contribute to, your energy to, that is short term, that you just want to get it done. And a dream is something more long term. It's something that you have your eyes set on, and it can very well be your dream. But sometimes, like, the pursuit of that dream might lead you to realize, oh, wait, maybe I really didn't want this dream. But it will unlock doors and opportunities for you that will lead you to that place where you're like, I never thought I would get here. And this feels so much better than I could ever dream for my own self. And that's the benefit of having both goals and both dreams. Now, there was a time where I was just so great at setting goals. I loved it. I loved the process. I loved getting out a little pen and like new markers and designing things and having a planner and setting out all these goals. And then I would get depressed in a sense because I would not achieve the goal. And it was just this push and pull. And it was like, then I have to pick myself up and get the energy again to do it all over again. And so I started to just settle in and I realized that it wasn't just about the goal. It was about, how am I being accountable to myself? How am I keeping my word to myself? Because the thing that was the letdown was that I was feeling like I wasn't keeping my word to myself. And I was out of alignment with one of my core values, and which is integrity. And so for you, if that is something that resonates with you, and you're a person who likes to set the vision and you like to set the goals, then you need that accountability. So it's not just about checking in with yourself, because that can last for a little bit, but sometimes it doesn't stay. It's not something that is consistent. So you want to have accountability partners in those areas that you want to see change in, because that will help you. And so I have coaches with my business. I have a personal trainer who holds me accountable and makes sure that I am showing up to my workouts faithfully, and also pushing myself more during the workouts. And this is really funny because with my personal trainer, I have noticed a change in me with how I do the workout. When I was working out by myself, I would get to a certain point and I would push myself, but I would give myself a little break. If I was pushing hard, I might stop right at the number of reps, even if I could do more, because I was like, oh yeah, I'm doing well. And I would just feel great that I worked out and nobody was really watching me. So if I wanted to stop at 10 push-ups or not do all the burpees, no pun intended, burpees are just, they're the worst. But they've given my body the most change. And so I have a love-hate relationship with burpees. But if I wanted to like stop short on a burpee, it was like, yeah, I could. I'd be like, oh, I'm out of breath. I would just feel myself, like my energy feeling like I couldn't give anymore, and I would just stop. But what I noticed with me working out with a personal trainer is that he will see me and he will say, keep going. And I push even harder when somebody has their eyes on me because, again, recovering perfectionist, I want to have the right form. I want to be told good job. I want to, all the things that come along with the praise of somebody saying you do something right. And I've noticed that I've pushed harder. And when I wanted to give in and I wanted to give up, in that push, that the leg press or the lunge, and I was just like, I can't do it anymore. My leg is shaking. I'm shaking my body. I would just do one more because he's right there. He's like, one more, one more. And I walked out feeling good because I'm like, I just did that. In fact, the other day I did my workout and he had me doing sumo squats, which is where your legs are like squat position, but they're really wide out, very wide. And your hips are parallel to the ground, and you're just right above the ground, and you have a kettlebell in the middle between your legs, and your arms are directly in front of you. And so you're not leaning forward. You like have your chest up straight and you're trying to go straight down and then come up. And I was doing that and he put this kettlebell in front of me and I thought, oh, okay, no problem. Well, I went to reach the kettlebell and it felt extremely heavy. But of course, I did the 3 sets, and at the end of this, I did 30 repetitions of this move total within the 3 different sets. And I asked him when I was walking out the door, hey, how much did that kettlebell weigh? And he said, oh, 53 pounds. And I looked at him, I was just like, 53 pounds? What do you mean? I was lifting that to blow my back out. But he said, I went for 50, but I figured, why not go for 53? Listen, he believed in me more than I believed in myself. And after I accomplished that, I was like, I did that. I did that. And you sometimes need someone to tell you you can do that, to push you beyond what you think is your max, what you think is your limit, not to hurt you, to make you stronger, to make you exactly who you need to be in order to make an impact in this world. So have that accountability partner. Check in with them, whether it's daily or weekly, whatever it needs to be. Do it consistently so that you can show up for yourself. Because there have been times where I had a business accountability partner and I'm like, oh, our meeting is in 2 days. Oh, I said I was going to do this. Oh, I better get to it. It will make you do the thing that you said you're going to do. And it's very helpful. So definitely have mentors, have coaches, have accountability partners who are peers within the thing that you're doing so that you have a greater chance of success. Those are my 3 tips that I have for you. Those are the 3 habits that set successful people apart that I have found in all of the different books that I've read over and over and over again. This isn't about piling on more things for you to do. It's not. You pick and choose what resonates with you. So if you have a habit that has helped you become successful in an area, definitely put it in the comments. Let us know what that is. But you can't just pile these things on. It's not like, oh, now I'm going to write down my goals. I'm going to create a win and check in. And it's not about doing all those things. Pick one of those things that you're going to do and do it for 7 days. And if you make it to the 7 days, when you make it to the 7 days, do it for 7 more, and then 7 more, and just take it one day and one habit at a time. This isn't about piling on habits for you to get overwhelmed and then to quit and then to repeat it and do it over and over and over again. What resonated with you? What is something that you can stick to consistently? And the way that you can do those things and help them to stick, I have one tip that I picked up. I believe I heard this from Mel Robbins. I've heard some other people talk about this, but it is called habit stacking. And it's where you take your anchor habit, which is your habit that you do consistently every single day, like you brush your teeth, right? You take a shower, you go for a walk, whatever that habit is. And you add a new habit onto that anchor habit so that you can do it consistently so it doesn't seem like such a reach to get it done. So, for example, I know for sure I'm going to walk every day because one of my goals that I have is to make sure that I take 10,000 steps or more per day. And because I walk so much, and that's like an anchor habit that I do, that I'm going to do rain or shine, no matter the weather, then that's how I put in my audiobook. Like I listen to an audiobook while I'm walking, or a faith-based message to encourage me in my faith to keep going towards my goals and my dreams. I will take my book and read, and that's how I came up with the walk and read. I will take that book and I will read while I'm walking because I know I'm going to walk. If there's something else that you do, then that's how you would want to add something. If you make a cup of coffee for yourself every morning, and that's something that you do religiously, then if that's you make yourself that cup of coffee and it's something that you do consistently, then you may want to add on to that. You may want to say, okay, I know I'm going to make this cup of coffee. Why don't I do 5 jumping jacks while I'm waiting for the coffee to be made? Why don't I do some stretches? You can make this so minimalistic to where it's that small habit, and then it will turn into a habit that you do consistently, and it'll be part of who you are. And that's one thing that I learned from the compound effect, is those incremental changes that become habits that you can stick to. I hope that this episode helped you to feel empowered for you to go out there, make those changes, and ultimately become the person that you're meant to be. And all of these different things that you can do, I want to make sure that I remind you that these things cannot stick and become a part of who you are if they are not in alignment with your purpose, in alignment with peace. And if they're not in alignment with your way to process through your progress. So make sure you take the time to just sit and reflect and ask yourself, what resonates the most with me, and what can I do that's just not going to seem so drastic, but in the long run, it's going to pay off. And before you know it, these habits that set successful people apart will be things that you will be sharing with other people because you'll want them to have the success that you have. Thanks so much for tuning in today. And until next time, have a great day. And above all else, stay encouraged.